Loading. Welcome to the carousel. I am John. With me I have Randy. Oh, and I still have everyone muted. With me I have Randy.
You son of a bitch. Hey!
With me I have Jake.
We miss you, Joey.
You know,
That's gonna be our tagline.
Man, he's got kids and sometimes he doesn't show.
I mean, Joey, baby. I mean, you drive me crazy.
You're like the heart of the show, you know what I'm saying? Without you, it's soulless.
No one else is gonna follow up my Concrete Blonde reference? Fine.
Yeah, it was timely. I'll give you that.
I don't know what you're talking about, so.
The Concrete Blonde song, Joey.
That's the song?
Yes. You should sing it to Joey sometime. He hates
Betty
it.
I don't
Boop
know
sing
it.
that?
How am I going to sing it?
He hates the song so much. Just like everyone tweet Joey the lyrics to the Concrete Blonde song.
That'll go
Fine.
super well. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah. I hope someone does it. So, I guess let's get into news.
It's framing a little bit.
Extra,
Yeah.
extra.
Or maybe I should start getting in the habit of telling people what the podcast is at the start, which I never do. If this is your first time listening, we talk about movies, comics, games, whatever. The classical dorky media arts. And we have a little news section at the beginning, and then we talk about some shit we've been doing lately, and then we end with tweets and emails if we have any. So,
General nerdery.
Perfect.
so without further ado, the news. They announced recently the Preacher series that Seth Rogen was one of the showrunners for is going to start on AMC May 22nd.
I feel like every time someone brings up Preacher, I go, okay, that's awesome, count me in. And I've still never experienced any media containing the Preacher. He's like some kind of psychic sort of detective kind of thing, and there are gods from ancient Greece and stuff, like,
I
right?
haven't read
No?
any of it, so this
I'm
is
way off?
complete
Okay.
speculation, but it seems like he has no faith, but he has the gift that faith would give him.
So,
So there's a switch, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so now that we've both explained what it isn't,
okay,
Yeah,
so
because we have no idea. Let's
Well,
listen to John.
Randy might have been a little bit closer. Like, Preacher is written by Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis is a sick motherfucker. I don't know what else to point to that he's written. He's written a lot of stuff. But, like, he did The Boys, for instance, and he did Crossed, and he did Hitman, the DC comic. So, I've only read the first two trades of Preacher. So, actually, both of you could be entirely right, and it just wasn't explained by then. But my understanding of it is Preacher is about a priest who suddenly has the powers of the voice of God kind of thing, where occasionally he can pull a purple man and just tell someone to do something and they do it.
yeah, I feel like we can all pull a purple man whenever we need to.
But can you tell someone to go fuck themselves and then have them rip off their dick and stick it up their own ass?
And I've done it like a handful of times. I can't do it on hand, but yes, I have done it.
Right, yeah. It's not like I wouldn't guarantee that I could, but it has happened.
Like I gotta get like at least 9.5 hours of sleep, and then I can go just telling people I can have you tear the dick off of somebody else and fuck you with it.
You
But
can't be tired.
yeah, it's just in daylight saving. I couldn't do it now.
I
is what
know,
it is.
it's all effed up now. Because
Well-
we lost an hour of sleep.
And the thing I'm wondering about is the trailer they released for Preacher showed none of the supernatural stuff, which makes me wonder how much of that's actually going to be in the show.
That seems like all the cool stuff about the character that whenever someone brings him up, I go, ooh, that sounds awesome. I need to get in on that when it comes out, and then it never comes out.
Well, you never know what these Hollywood types are going to decide or the cool aspect of the character they got to bring to it. But they did, like, at the end of the trailer, you saw a tiny snippet of, I think his name's Cassidy. He's like a Cockney redneck vampire or something like that.
Is everything in the show about dicks?
Probably. It's Garth Ennis. So it's going to be about cannibalism, rape, and tearing off your dick or fucking animals or something like that.
It's about cantaloupes, drapes, tearing.
Garth Ennis is a fucking shock rocker guy. Like, he is
Yeah.
all about being fucking controversial from the little I've read of him. But I read the first 2 trades, and they were okay. But I'm very curious to see how a TV show works out. Because this show is very, I mean, it's got the shit I just told you. It's got chicken fuckers. It's got,
Wait, Link is in this?
I'm sure there's rape in there somewhere.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I don't think the chickens can consent, so I suppose you could lump those together.
Well, they can't consent, but they can't decline either. So
One
you know,
box
does-
for yes,
Fuck
2
off!
box for no, 3 box is the safe word.
Fuck off!
yeah.
Anyway, so continuing on with the news,
Fuck all the chickens you want, is what I'm saying.
if if you didn't know, Daredevil season 2 hits Friday. Yay! I'm excited for it. They have 2 trailers online, one for Punisher, one for Elektra. And then Jake, I'll let you take this next 2 news pieces.
Okay. Well, this is just sort of a short little thing because I wanted to ask you guys a question, and I don't know if since I'm a Blizzard fanboy, I feel like that's why I have an answer for this, and if you guys don't follow a lot of Blizzard stuff, you're just gonna go, I don't know. But let's see. Blizzard is still patching Diablo 2 and Warcraft 3. Diablo 2 came out, I think, in 1998, and Warcraft 3 was like maybe 2001, 2002.
Something like that.
They're still patching them. Like, the Warcraft patch coming out next week. Diablo came out this week.
So you're talking almost 20 years.
Well,
yeah.
but like Warcraft, people are still paying a subscription and shit for that. Oh no, you said Warcraft 3. I'm sorry.
Let's talk about Warcraft 3.
3!
Yeah.
Not even the expansion. Well, I guess, yeah, it would be Frozen Throne. So I guess my question is this. Do you guys know anyone who's still playing these games? Who are these patches for?
I don't know anybody who's still playing WoW, let alone Diablo 2 or Warcraft 3. No.
I mean,
don't know.
Diablo is such an iterative experience. I don't see any point in going back to an old one after the new one comes out,
I wonder if maybe this is for folks who, like... I know there's different, like, licensing and publishing agreements for... I'm not going to say, like, third world countries, but there are countries where they don't get the newer games, or they're crazy expensive, or... like, I'm pulling this one out of my ass. I know there's a South American country where it's just not feasible to buy new games. And so they still play older stuff, like this. And I wonder if maybe that's why? I don't know. I mean, I go back probably every other year or so and start to play through the Warcraft 3 campaign. I go, man, this was great when it came out. I can't play any more of this.
Sure.
What I remember about Warcraft 3 coming out was everyone being irritated that they changed so much from Warcraft 2. But,
yeah, the
I think
whole
it's-
creeping and...
Blizzard is really proud of their old games, though. Like, Diablo
They're not the
2
only ones,
didn't
though.
drop
Nintendo
down.
is always putting out their old shit.
Yeah, but Blizzard, like, kept Diablo 2 at, like, a $40 price point until, like, a couple years ago, Like, I think Diablo 3 hit before they fucking said, maybe we should only be charging $20 for Diablo 2.
I'm not sure that's true, John. Because you
This
could
game
get...
that came out in 97.
They did a lot of the battle chests to where you'd get the game and however many expansions came out for like $19.99, $25. That was kind of their thing for a while.
The Diablo Battle Chest was $40 at least until like 2008 or 9.
Wow.
At
That's
least.
ridiculous.
I agree. It is ridiculous. It is fucking ridiculous. But it's $20 now. Who cares?
Still too much.
It's probably not gonna go below $20.
But like Jake was saying, you go back and you play a game that was awesome when you played it, but you play it now with new expectations, and it's not as good. Like I've gone back and tried to play KOTOR, and I can't. And I loved KOTOR when it was out, but just this year I tried to play it again, and I can't do it.
I made it through KOTOR last year.
You made it through, right?
It done. I'm like 8-10 hours into KOTOR 2, and that's where I hit a wall. But yeah, I think those are still real playable.
You think so? Okay.
I tried it on iPad, and it actually worked a lot better on iPad than I thought it would. But I didn't really even finish the opening area. But something I just realized: I was saying Diablo earlier, and I meant Diablo 2.
Oh yeah, well, that like you said, they're iterative and
yeah.
Did you guys see that there's like I don't know if it's fan made or what, sort of the ground up remake of KOTOR? Did you guys see that that's actually looking like it might not be dead in the water?
No.
Take a look and do a search on it. A couple of screenshots I saw look pretty damn nice.
Who owns KOTOR? That's EA.
They must. What's
I mean,
It was BioWare.
They own BioWare, and
Yeah.
they own fucking Star Wars, so I would think it would be, but
KOTOR was BioWare.
yeah, because they're doing
owned by EA now.
they're doing Old Republic too, so it's got to be.
Did you mean Old Republic as well, or Old Republic 2?
I mean Old Republic as well.
Okay.
The MMO.
Yeah, because the
I never
MMO
played
is
that.
supposed to
Was it
be
good?
like the spiritual sequel to the KOTOR games, so
It was like
pretty good.
KOTOR, but with everybody, right?
It's pretty good.
I gotta tell you, I feel like nothing makes me feel more Oklahoman than fucking saying Coder, because I feel like I may as well be saying like Cooter or something like that.
Yeah, we're just going down to Decoder.
Yeah, did you play that KOTOR?
You guys been playing with the Cooter lately? I really dig the Cooter.
Hey, not until marriage, bud.
Yeah. Until then, you just work that purple man.
That's right.
Yeah, well, you know.
So speaking of masturbatory things, Bethesda really seems to be in love with their own DLC. And it kind of worked for me this time, because I was not interested in this Fallout DLC really at all, except for the story stuff, and even that I wasn't super stoked on. But I watched this trailer for this Automatron DLC that's coming out next week.
Does it look good?
It looks pretty good. Like, I don't care about the Pokemon robot stuff, but actually, like, I don't want to build any of these things, but I want to see what other people build and build on their robots.
Maybe
looks
am I alone in that I haven't actually finished the original game yet, and I've been playing this pretty regularly since it came out in November, and I just haven't finished it yet.
I haven't finished it either, but I also haven't played it in a month or two.
What about you, Jake? Have you finished the story?
I did, but it had to be sort of a deliberate, I am no longer allowing myself to get sidetracked. Let's go.
Yeah, like you have to focus on it. Like if you just play Fallout, if you just like let a Fallout happen to you, then you'll never finish. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's a good thing and a bad thing. You know, a lot of people like that about it.
That's what I like about it.
But I wanted to see how it ended, so I
Sure.
basically just threw myself into it and went, fuck it, the Institute's dying, I don't care how it happens. I ended up siding with the damn Minutemen. Like, that's how much I wanted them dead, because I was like, alright, well, we're at this point in their story. I'm not going to run over here with the cool people and then do all of their story, like, we just need to kill these guys right now. Come on!
Yeah,
I thought you could only pick from the Institute,
the Brotherhood or the Institute.
Yeah, I thought you got them and the Railroad. I thought those were your three choices. I didn't think Minutemen
Oh,
was an
Railroad.
option.
Well,
Minutemen?
Railroad's kind of on this. Oh,
Yeah, Minutemen, Brotherhood, Institute, Railroad.
So if
I
I
think
side with the
so.
How did the
Railroad, is it
Minutemen
going to
come
break
into it?
ties with the Minutemen?
I think the Minutemen are sort of the neutral guys, and like I said, I went with them, so I can't really say. They aren't diametrically opposed to any other faction, but if you did go with the Railroad, they ain't gonna like you hanging out with the Brotherhood, and vice versa.
See, the thing I'm worried about most with this DLC is I've already downloaded a mod that lets me build robots and take them with me. And while this DLC will obviously probably do something cooler than just what, the game already offers, I'm still worried about how that mod is going to conflict with it.
Well, that's probably valid. It looks like they came up with a lot of fun new tools, weapons, sort of. I saw a sentry bot, sort of, like you remember in Marvel vs. Capcom where the Sentinel would just sort of just boost himself across the screen with his fist out. Like it was SentryBot just doing that, just flying like it was on a rocket sled. And okay, that's kind of fucking cool.
That does sound fun.
So, I don't know. I mean, I've already paid for it, so I guess I'll try it.
I always want to get back into Fallout, but every time I think about it, it just sounds like work to me for some reason. And I think the problem is when I think about getting into it, I think about making myself play the story, which is not really what I want to go to that game for.
See, I would have said that it's because you build a bunch of shit, because that's literally work.
Well, and that's the part I think I like the most about it, but I think I've already unlocked all the shit I can build. But, you know, because like as you level up your other skills, like your science and shit like that, there's more objects you're allowed to build, like in terms of decorations and whatnot.
Right, and sentries and trading posts and all that stuff. Yeah. That seemed really important, that trading post stuff. So that was like the first thing I leveled into, and then I got it, and I was like, well, this is kind of fucking shitty.
I just wanted to generate extra caps for me, honestly, but
you don't really need caps.
I mean,
What
you don't
do you
really
buy?
need anything. I mean, honestly, but I feel like there was something I wanted to buy, but I don't remember what.
Well, the thing is, there's cool shit at, oh god, I want to call it Diamond Town. Diamond City.
Diamond.
Welcome to Diamond Town. There's cool shit to buy there, but, like, by the time you have the 42,000 caps you need to buy this cool baseball bat with a couple of razor blades in it,
You could have made it.
you found way cooler shit out there.
Yeah.
Or you built it, like.
Yeah,
So.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it looks cool. I'm hoping it's good. Like I said, I already paid for it, so.
I don't know. I mean, there's just no justice in that world of Fallout. You know.
No, well, no.
I mean,
It's a cruel world, right?
Well, there's only justice for babies.
young justice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Baby justice.
don't.
Spoilers, I haven't finished the game.
This is. Is this a pretty? Is this a? Did we burn the whole fucking segue well enough for that?
Just talk about that Young Justice cartoon.
Yeah. So, Young Justice Season 2 hit Netflix in February, and I didn't even realize it. I don't even know how I realized it. I guess I was just cruising Netflix. I'm like, maybe I should watch this again. Oh, Season 2 is available. I'm going to fucking watch that.
I didn't know that until literally right now. I saw you had been posting on Twitter about Season 2, and I guess I thought I had already seen them, because I was still working my way through it. I had a couple episodes left. You're telling me there's another 24 episodes?
Hell fucking... Well, there's 20 episodes, but yes.
I'll take it!
It is such a good show. Like, DC is just leagues above everyone in their fucking cartoon quality. From the animation, to the voice acting, to the story writing. Like, Young Justice Season 1 is still kind of kid... Like, it has kiddie elements in it, but has a lot of adult fucking storylines in it. Young Justice Season 2, they said, you know what, we're fast-forwarding 5 years.
Ooh.
And they just throw everyone in the fucking bucket. And, like, I am not a DC aficionado, so if they break any, like, DC canon I should be aware of, then someone else would have to tell me. But
Yeah, I don't know, and on some level I don't care, because those can all be their own thing. You know, you look at Marvel, I know I'm sort of taking a right turn here, but you look at Marvel, generally, yeah, their animated stuff is nowhere near as good as DC's. Oh, and by the way, Killing Joke, Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy, real thing, just found out today.
Oh yeah, we forgot to throw that in the news. Yeah. Killing
looks
Joke,
beautiful.
for the people who didn't put all three of those together.
Yeah. We can come back around to that. Marvel's, I think it was Ultimate Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, whatever the one was that sort of had all his buddies. It was Nova was in it, like Kid Nova.
Oh.
That one, real good. Like,
Yeah,
aimed at kids, but
I
good.
disagree.
Well, I liked, some of the stuff was over the top for the kid stuff, but, you know, by and large, it was good writing. The jokes were funny by themselves. They just tried to sell them too hard.
Yeah,
But-
am polar. I hate that show so much.
Okay. I know. I like. It sounds like Young Justice sort of started off with being a lot more, not kid friendly or kiddie, but just accessible. The characters seemed accessible to
Yeah.
kids.
Well,
But that's awesome if they push it all forward.
and the first season, like, very much, I think you get these definitive story arcs in it. The second season is one giant fucking story arc. Some shit went down in that 5 years. They aren't telling you what, and they hold the cards pretty close to their chest most of the season. So there's lots of real good tension. There is just a metric ton of characters in it. And just
Really?
it's really cool seeing how these kids have evolved and kind of become young adults. And
Now, I haven't... This is a little bit minor spoilery. What I forget the character... all the characters' name except for Aqualad, because fucking Aqualad.
They made Aqualad cool. Like, they made someone with that name fucking one of the best characters in the show. Like,
No, you're not even Aquaman.
yeah.
No! And not even boy, Aqua Tyke.
You are,
He's a wee little laddie from the sea.
here's the thing. Like, the show starts, and you very much look in and you're like, oh, they wanted a black character, so they made a black Atlantean and threw him in there. And he's the best fucking character. And that wasn't meant to say... I gotta dig myself out of this hole. That wasn't meant to say that this is me being racist about it. This is meant to say that they were being racist and that they made the character black for being the sake of... fuck.
I'm not necessarily sure that they did, but I'm gonna try and say what I think you're trying to say in different words. He's not a token character that got put on the show just so they could say, oh, we have a black character.
That's
And he takes a third or fourth guy down the line sort of place in the team. He is straight up the leader. At least he was when I was at the piece I was watching.
I apologize to everyone I've offended. I'm bad with words. What he said.
So what I was going to ask that was spoilery. I forget the name. Was it Superboy? What's the Superman clone? Superman teenager.
I don't remember if they call him Superboy. They call him
Kid L.
I don't remember what they call
Clint.
him. I really don't remember.
Kent Clark.
They gotta call him Superboy. I mean, he's Superboy.
So he had all these. I mean, his origin story is he was a clone of Superman, and like not a failed one like Bizarro, but like Superman wants nothing to do with him. At least in the beginning of season 1, and he's got all these anger and abandonment issues, and like the guy he sees as his dad wants nothing to do with him. Is he still rocking that in the 5 years later? Does that evolve, or?
They resolved that at the end of season 1, you don't remember?
No, like I said, I still had a couple of episodes left to go. So. Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
No, they wrap up, like season 1 wraps up fairly neatly. There's one aspect of season 1 that doesn't wrap up, which is immediately addressed in season 2. Season 2 is all about, okay, guess what? Now the universe has taken notice of Earth. So now you have to deal with aliens and all these different Zeta tubes and boom tubes and whatnot.
Wasn't Martian Manhunter's niece, showed up season 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Learned a crazy detail about her in season 2 as well, but, a big part of this storyline is about this alien race known as the Reach, and it also kind of centers around Blue Beetle, who I don't think was in the first season. Blue Beetle's one of my, he kind of went back and forth between annoying and likable, but I love the concept of him, because he has a scarab on his back that's always talking to him. So if you imagine one of those characters in the comics that has a computer in their head that only they can hear,
like a Jarvis.
Yeah, imagine that, except the first few episodes they don't let you hear the scarab voice, so it's literally just Blue Beetle freaking out.
That's great.
It's really good.
God, I need to go back to that show.
So here's the other part to this, is one of the creators, Greg Weisman, took to Twitter and said, look, you guys want a season 3, just start watching it on Netflix and rewatching it and just do it constantly every day. So, nothing else has come out of that tweet, and, there may be nothing even behind that tweet other than the guy hoping that Netflix sees it's popular or something and pays for a new series, but man, I would really like a season 3, especially with what the end of season 2 hints at. So,
I need to get on that.
if you've listened to this podcast at all, I generally fall on the Marvel side of the equation most of the time. But yeah, I mean, Young Justice is seriously one of the best.
Oh, that reminded me of a thing you
cartoons
posted.
out there.
To completely derail it was Marvel versus DC. Which one is left or right?
Oh, God damn it! You know,
Let's bring that in. No.
before you showed up,
We don't
like I told Jake, I'm like, I'm gonna make a concerted effort not to do political posts, and then you're like, hey, remember that Facebook post where you're like, I'm gonna be a dick. You guys choose, is Marvel and DC are Republican and Democrat, which is which?
Well, you put it up, man.
I did, and I was really like, everyone was really boring. I wanted everyone to get pissed off in my feed and like
Yeah, I'm
argue with
staying the
each
hell out of
other.
this.
And
You wanted to instigate.
yeah, it didn't work.
I tried.
I've lost my knack.
Yeah, clearly you don't have any superpowers, is what we're taking away here.
Yeah.
You were
Can
no
we all
preacher.
agree, though, that Batman is totally some right-wing vigilante? Right?
Oh, I think DC is definitely way more sort of authoritarian as far as how they treat stuff, but yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the nature of superheroes, though, right? It's the whole, we can't rely on the government, we can't rely on the private, we have to rely on these super beings. I mean, it's essentially, you know, a form of tyranny, right? Except they're these dudes with superpowers who are just born better than or
Yeah,
either
you're
born
you're
better
subbing
than
it
everyone
in
or made
for
better
government.
than everyone. You could be pretty, like, negative derivative towards superheroes, like,
Well, that's how you got the whole Civil War arc. I mean, that is
Right.
Marvel's Civil War.
Yeah, Marvel, I think, is much more democratic about it because they're much more likely to have teams, I think.
Well, X-Men helps that a lot.
Yeah, X-Men does have that. But think about all the DC people, like, what's the main thrust of all the DC people? And it's individuals who happen to have superpowers or not, because Bruce Wayne doesn't actually have any superpowers, but it's individuals.
Infinite money.
infinite
That's
money,
kind of a superpower, right?
doesn't have to sleep, and has planned for everything.
Okay, great. So he has
Which
a superpower.
infinite money kind of buys those other two.
He's a super planner. But,
Yeah, like if you have a wedding coming up, like he is your fucking guy.
oh yeah. Yeah.
But she ain't wearing a white dress though. It's got to be black and yellow.
Right, and there's not going to be any, like, cake. You don't point to a picture for the cake. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to make the cake for you.
You see, now I'm picturing like a Batman in my head that's like embroidered in like a white bat suit and has like a frilly cape and
Like Lone Star at the end
Yeah.
of Spaceballs.
yeah, basically.
Batman would be an amazing wedding planner.
Yeah.
He's standing in the back of the church, just cowl everything. Yeah, I love that idea, and it's got to be like a '70s tux with the frill and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Or, like,
yeah.
does Batman wear white, and then he shows up to the wedding and he's like, oh, shit,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have worn white. You know
Or
what
he
I'm saying?
dresses to match the walls or something.
You
I
don't
don't
wear
know.
white to a wedding.
I don't know. Anyway,
So, yeah, I'd say generally they try to be peacekeepers. They can't always do it though. So
Well,
sometimes you need war,
There's peacekeepers, and then there's peacemakers. Not the same.
which I may come across one playing Warframe, which I have.
Oh, you're going to try
for
to
some-
keep this on track, huh?
Yes. Which I, for some reason, been doing this week.
Yeah. I don't like with how much you've talked about hating this game. I was really surprised to see your stream of tweets, but I was like, well, I guess he just wants to have this consecrated experience, so I'm concentrated. Sorry.
I
Experience.
figured you meant that because that's sort of how you revere this game. It was. Here's the thing. I got around a lot of the stuff I thought I hated by not talking to other people, which is sort of a good MO for life, I think.
Dude, that's how I played all of the Modern Warfares. Anytime I was on a first-person shooter, mute everybody.
Well, this I just go into solo mode. I didn't know you could do this in my first round. In that, the way it defaults is you have all these missions, and I'm only level like 10 or something like that. My guns are all level 11, but I'm like 9, and I have mods and stuff. I'll get into that. So I haven't been playing a ton of this, but my first round, like what it does is if you pick a mission, even like I don't know if it's anything after the tutorials for what tutorials there are, all your super early missions, like Randy's, just show up, And these guys all know all the levels because they've done them 1,000 times. They've been playing this for 8 years, and they just run ahead, go right down the required path, murder everything, and it feels like back in the day playing WoW, having someone run you through Scarlet Monastery.
Sure.
And it's super fucking irritating and not fun at all. Once I realized I could just go into a solo queue and it wouldn't even try and find people, I could explore the game at my own pace, the enemies were appropriate, they didn't die instantly. It's way more fun because the combat is real good. Like, the movement is super fun, the shooting feels good, the melee feels good. Yeah, the missions are a little repetitive, kind of, already, but I don't care, because the environments are cool. What I don't like is all this MMO shit that they want to use to hook people in is all the stuff I don't want to work with. Like, there's... How many currencies are there, John?
Well...
And crafting
the problem is when you start talking about a free-to-play game, it stops being... Well, everything starts being currency. Like, because you have your weapon experience, you have your master rank experience, you have platinum, you have your syndicate experience.
There's affinity, then there's ferrite, and
well, affinity
navigation.
is everything. Ferrite and all that shit is crafting ingredients. So
there's like navigation modules or something.
Right, the navigation modules they're working on an upgrade to that, but they've been working on it for like a year and they haven't gotten it out yet. But the navigation modules open up other planets or other points on other planets.
Well, I could live with all that stuff because I understand it's free to play and I can live with that stuff. Feels super grindy, but you're not playing an MMO if you don't want something grindy.
Sure.
I feel like they throw so much of it at you so quickly and don't explain any of it. Not to mention all the shit that, like, I was picking up crafting materials in like the second and third level. Why I couldn't use them for anything because I didn't have that piece of my ship opened yet.
Oh, right.
Which, again, I'm totally fine with. But the first thing they did was they emptied out my fucking cache. They were like, oh yeah, by the way, somebody just stole all our materials as soon as you got the thing you could use to craft stuff with them. And it was
Really?
Yeah!
That's
yeah.
bullshit. Like,
That's
do you have
what
a
I
mission
said.
to go get it back or anything?
You have a mission to go... that's sort of the reason they steal all your shit, is the next mission is the guy who helped you find the forge, or maybe it's the thing that pulls the virus out of your spine or whatever.
Right.
He's like, oh, why didn't you say you needed materials? I know a guy. Go rob these people.
Gotcha.
And then you're robbing robots.
That's why they did it. Well, and if it makes you feel any better, I doubt you got any really worthwhile materials anyway on Mercury, or Earth.
I'm sure I didn't, but let me keep what I have. If you have to devalue that, I get it.
I'm willing to bet they did that because they wanted you to go. Like, they were worried that you might have replayed that mission over and over again and gotten enough materials to craft this thing instead of taking this next tutorial mission to go get crafting materials.
Well, in general, that seems to be my beefs with it so far, are that I think I've come to this game too late. You know, everyone else sort of... You know, it's like if you hand someone who hasn't played video games since the Nintendo, if you hand them a DualShock 4, they're just crippled. They don't know how any of it works. Whereas we've all sort of gotten the iterations and sort of the baby steps for the last 20 years. And I think that's sort of my beef here, is that I wasn't there for all the intermediate steps, and they don't want to over-tutorialize everything because everyone doesn't want to repeat that. So like on the Forge screen, or the mod screen, it gave me zero indication what I was supposed to be doing. Now, it's drag and drop, so you can kind of work it out, but I didn't realize till probably my third time there that there's this tiny little tutorial box in the bottom right.
Yeah, honestly, they didn't even have those two, like, they added those tutorial levels a year ago. Like, there used to be no tutorial at all. You just, here you go kill stuff, and then it was... How does anything work? What do these currencies do? Oh, there's modding. What's modding? I'm afraid to get rid of this. Should I be doing this?
I think
it's
the weird
really
balance
not.
You have to strike with any game that you're making, like as a developer, because a certain proportion of your audience is going to be gamers who have played, WoW, KOTOR, Ocarina, all the way back. They've played all of it, right? So they don't need tutorials per se, but then you're going to have a certain degree of new people who do need the tutorial, and so how do you balance that? Because if you put in a aggressive tutorial, you're going to have all the fanboys on YouTube reviews being, pissed off about it.
I think that's why this problem is my fault. Because, you look at, I guess, the reason that I was getting into Warframe is because I almost was convinced that I should get the Division. And I was smart enough to talk myself out of that, because I don't want another MMO. So Warframe was easy for me to dip my toes in. And it doesn't cost me anything. I can jump out, jump back in whenever I want. Great. It sort of seems like this is my fault because, Destiny is a good example. It's a much simpler version, and I say that because the aesthetics are sort of kind of the same-ish. It's sci-fi, it's shooty stuff. This one's third person, that one's first. But there's a lot of analogous things. It's basically a squad-based MMO with limited matchmaking. And you just go find loot and level shit up and build stuff. Well, they, like any other MMO, really only started out with the one currency. Well, two, which is, credits and then light. Well, now they've sort of, as expansions and, raids and stuff have come out, they've had to add more to keep the people who have been playing, give them something new. Well, Warframe's been out for how long? 7, 8 years?
No. It's been out for about 3 years.
Dude, they were... No.
Yeah.
I downloaded it on the PS3, man.
Warframe? No, you didn't.
Well, 2013 it would have been PS3, right?
It did not come out for the PS3. It came out for the PS4. The PS4 was the first console it came out for. That was actually the thing that got my interest into it. And when I started playing, it had already been out for 8 or 9 months. But it was a launch title for PS4.
Really?
Wow, I thought this was way older.
No.
Holy shit. So, okay.
That just totally ruined everything you were about to say.
I was trying to be nice to it. So, closed beta started on October 2012. In 3.5 years, they've dumped all this shit on there? Oh, well, I'm way less charitable to this game now. Fuck them.
Okay. Good talk.
Yuck.
Honestly, here's the thing. Like, every game has a grind loop, and it just depends how you like the grind loop. Like, I really like the gameplay in Warframe. I really like a lot of the modding. I really like a lot of the crazy shit you can do with the modding. Like, you have a frame called a Nova, for instance, where one of her powers, if you mod it the normal way, you will affect the entire group and make them all more liable to explode on each other whenever you shoot them next. Well, you can mod it a different way, whereas the normal way would slow them down. You can also mod it to where they will speed up and rush at you, which makes it fun in a completely different way.
By the way, being exploded generally does slow you down.
Well,
or speed you up.
Yeah, just vertically.
Well, I mean, it's just one of the preparatory ways you can do this. But I mean, there's a lot in Warframe. It started as, I mean, it was an open beta game, It had a very limited closed beta, and they've added a lot to it over the years. But
all I'm hearing is this is the way I've felt since the fucking 90s with the Sega SNES fight. Is there's just no pleasing gamers, right?
Here's the thing. I've started out trying to be nice to this because the combat stuff and the movement stuff and double jumping and sliding, and there's this weird sort of bullet time thing.
I hear a buzz coming.
Well, and they just added the bullet time thing about a year ago. So
yeah, where you yeah, you do. Where you slide in midair and sort of just slows down and you can get some shots off, that thing? Or is that frame specific?
Well, no, that happens with everyone. I'm just saying,
okay.
they did what they call Movement 2.0, or Parkour 2.0, because originally they had all these very specific wall running animations, and everyone got around by what they called coptering, which is basically where you dash, you go into a slide, and then you hit your melee attack, and it would just launch you across the map. And new players felt it was chaotic and random, and old players were like, fuck this, I can get exactly where I want when I want to. But then they reinvented the combat so that you can actually go twice as far as coptering with a little bit more control, and it was a lot more player friendly. And that's when they added the kind of pseudo bullet time where nothing's actually slowing down except you, but it's still pretty badass.
Well, and that's the thing. I guess I am going to keep playing this game. I'm 6 hours in.
Really?
I haven't made a weapon yet. I haven't found really any blueprints yet. I've got a couple of mods. I've done almost nothing, but I'm going to keep playing it. I wonder if just the vastness of all this bullshit that they throw at you minute one when you walk in the door. I feel like that's going to scare off a lot of players.
Yeah,
Which
it tends to from a lot of the new players I talk to. It is better now than it used to be, but it's still not great. They are aware. They are working on it. Like when I got an Xbox One, I started a new game on there just to see what the new player experience was, and it's like, well, you go through the first big quest mission and then do the second big quest mission, then they give you a blueprint for a weapon that you are literally probably at least 4 hours of gameplay away from being able to craft, which
the fire sword. Yeah.
which I think is a huge problem. Like, the fire sword's kind of cool because when you hit the ground with it, a bunch of flames erupt everywhere. But you aren't going to know that because you got to get to fucking, I don't remember, Saturn or Jupiter or somewhere, and that's going to take a new player a while to get there. And I know they want people to
it takes
put
a while
money...
to get to Saturn.
Do you feel like you're complaining about too much content right away? Because there's a big complaint about games these days being designed around the DLC coming out later, and so you get less for your upfront price. You know what I'm saying? Like on a Destiny or whatever, Destiny, people said there wasn't enough story, there wasn't enough content. But now it seems to me like you guys are complaining about too much content.
Well, one, he's complaining. I love Warframe. But I'm sympathetic to a lot of its criticisms. And he is right in that the new player experience is very much, shit, what do I do? Because the whole game is about grinding and getting stuff, essentially, right?
But
There's a lot of games.
There's no weapon drops, though. There's no, ooh, I got this right now. Which is fine. That's the way they want to make the game, and I'm totally cool with that. I guess I'm saying I'm looking for more of a gentle slope than a giant wall of content that
Sink
gets
or
thrown
swim,
in you day one.
right?
Like, kind of your first goal when you get into the game is to unlock the rest of the universe. Unlock the universe with Warframe.
I like that it's measured. You know, it's a measured goal. It's realistic.
Yeah, you gotta unlock the universe. Each boss, except for Mercury, every boss of every planet drops parts to craft a Warframe with.
You said except for Mercury?
Yes.
Okay, because I think I just killed him and got kind of nothing.
Yeah, he will occasionally drop parts for a really shitty gun. I don't advise even messing with it. Like, it's kind of cool because it shoots rockets, but then well, not really rockets. They're pseudo-rockets in that it seems like they're rockets, but they're really shitty, and it's low damage, and you will...
They're actually just
rarely
rocks that say rocket on the side of them, and you have to throw them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not rockets ETS, it's rockets ROCK-ITS.
IT. You have to put it in a rocket launcher.
Yeah, you're
and
rocketing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they need to edit their whole store interface to where you can
Rockets.
like kind of sort stuff that your master rank will allow you to do, because they section off like what weapons you can use with your master rank, and your master rank doesn't go up unless you've mastered weapons, and it
makes you go back. It doesn't let you, or at least I haven't found a way. It doesn't, and part of this is that the interface is a lot more difficult with a controller. Like, I have to flip back and forth between the controller and keyboard, between missions and the hub, which I get it. There's a lot of shit. Fine, I can deal with that. But just like minor quality of life stuff, like I found a mission where they were like, all right, dude, you think your sword's badass? It's not. Like, you gotta go sharpen it on people's necks. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna sharpen my sword on some motherfuckers' necks.
Right.
Let's go. And they were like, you still got all your shit equipped, man. Go back to the cabinet. Put that shit away. Come back when you just have the sword. And I was like, what? Why? No. Just assume that if I want to go slashing shit, that I will leave my guns that I can't use here.
Yeah. That would be nice, and it would also make the matchmaking for that a lot easier. That was actually an event they did over the last weekend, but anyway, we probably talked enough about
Yeah, I'm surprised that I'm beating Warframe to death. Why don't you go on to a much more simplistic game?
You sound actually a lot more positive about Warframe than I thought you would, so...
I'm fucking shocked.
If you ever want to join up, and I can help you get some shit. But if you want to keep your lone kind of experience, that's fine too. But I'm just saying, if we played together as bros, we could be a force.
We could be a bro force.
Yeah.
You want to bro force it up?
So I don't. With as much fun as I've had on this game, like, part of me is shocked by the negativity on my friend feeds, like,
I don't love it.
on how people don't like it. Like, me and Susie sat down and just downloaded and played it, and I knew very little about the game. I knew it took a lot of reimagined, like, 80s and 90s action heroes and put the word bro in their name, and other than that, I was like, it's just like Contra or something, right?
Joseph Stalin.
And we started playing and just immediately started blowing each other the fuck up on accident in the most absolutely absurd ways. And then we started unlocking all these other characters, and everyone shot differently, and then it slowly, like, we kind of learned how to strategize the game.
Well, explain what it is. It's a 2D sort of Contra shooter, but with almost a Metal Slug aesthetic, but pixelier.
Like, it's bloody like Super Meat Boy or something, but, like, everything explodes in the game. Like, the whole environment is destructible for the most part. And you will often find, like, I meant to look up the word before it, but it's like that game Mousetrap. It's one of those, what machines? Help me out, guys. You'll know what I'm talking
Rube
about.
Goldberg.
Rube Goldberg, thank you. Like, most of the levels are an explosive Rube Goldberg machine. And they're really kind of pointless Rube Goldberg machines, but generally if you set off one explosion, it will set off a chain of explosions, and then just pixelated blood goes flying everywhere. You can play up to 4 players. I can't imagine playing with 4 players that you would get anything done, but playing
Don't you share lives? Because, like, if you start out with...
You don't.
If you start out with Ronald Schwarzenegger, and you get, Sylvester Stallone, like, you save him, but if Sylvester Stallone dies, then you go back to Arnold Schwarzenegger until you run out of dudes you saved.
So I've never played the single player, so this is how lives work multiplayer. You both start playing, whoever saves the guy, switches characters, gets an extra life.
Yep.
And then if you go to a flag, and the other character has an extra life, they will come back. If they don't have an extra life, they won't. If you encounter a new hostage to save while the other person is dead, the other person will be resurrected when you rescue the hostage.
As the hostage?
Yes.
Or do you still get a life out of that?
I think you get a life, but they get the character. So, but, like...
Wow, it's like reading a book from a dead author. You get the life, they get the character. That analogy kind of fell apart.
Yeah. But I don't...
To me, it's a
lot
Broforce.
It's a lot of dumb fun. It doesn't explain it. Like, here are the things I would take it to task for. Is, 1, playing on PS4 at the beginning of every level after, like, it'll start up, you have about 2 seconds, and then all the character movement freezes for a second. Which is really fucking annoying.
Even for, like, local? It's not like trying to sync player positions or anything, right?
That happened to me and Susie consistently every time we played it. We haven't played it for about a week, so maybe they fixed it by now, but I doubt it. It's been out on PS4 a long time. The other thing I have issue with is it doesn't explain any of the control stuff to you. So they have... like, I had to go to the internet several times for it. And this is actually a criticism you could wage against Warframe, because to learn to play Warframe, you just have to constantly read the Warframe wiki. But
there are so many W words in this. I love this. Waging war on the Warframe oh shit. Waging war on the... What the fuck game is this Broforce wiki?
Waging war on the Broforce wiki. Okay. But, like, on Broforce, the issue is mobility. Like, if you hold down L1, that actually makes you run faster. So they have a level that starts out where you literally have to do that to get past it, but the game never tells you that. Later on in that same level, you have an issue where you can't make a jump even if you're dashing. What it turns out is whenever you hit a one of those, what are they called? Slide lines? They're not called slide lines.
Zip line?
Zip line, thank you. Whenever you hit a zip line, you get an acceleration boost. So you have to hit the zip line and then hop off and immediately jump to make that jump work. And just kind of minor things like that. And I wish they had like a character screen where you could scroll through your unlocked characters and see what their moves are because they all work differently. You have, for instance, the Brodock Saints, and their power is there are 2 of them. And then if you use their power like before anyone dies, then their dad comes out. But then like they can take hits, whereas normally everyone just takes 1 hit and they die. So
So their superpower is being able to watch their brother be murdered in front of them.
My power is there's 2 of me.
Repeatedly. So like and like what's another character? Braid, for instance, who's Blade. He doesn't have a gun. He does melee, right? And his special ability is he does a melee lunge. But, like, melee's really effective when he does it. Like, and there are a couple melee characters. Like, they have Brochetti, and they have... they take the joke all the way... Like, you will stop caring about the bro joke. You will stop even seeing it on the screen because you've stopped caring about the bro joke.
Yeah,
but,
it's done, right? Yeah.
But, like, they have great... Like, they have... I think he's called Bro Dread or Judge Bro or something like that. But like his
Grudge Bread.
I feel like Grudge Bread. Now you're just making everything BR. I feel like Judge Broad is probably the way that one
like
goes.
he has bullet tracking, and then his special is he shoots a missile that you can like drive around. You know, and just like they get really creative with some of these powers, and a lot of them are really fun to play. But I can't imagine ever wanting to play this game single player. I don't think it would be anywhere near as fun. Like, sitting around laughing at the chaos that happens between me and my wife and seeing the new names pop up, I think is just absolutely fun. I would love if, like, the 4 of us would get on PlayStation sometime and just fuck around in that game on a stream or something for a half an hour, but...
I'm up for it. Yeah, let's do it.
It is free, so we can do that.
Yeah.
It's part of PS Plus this month.
So, in my opinion, if you have PS Plus, you really owe it to yourself. Just download it, grab a friend, and...
Do yourself a favor.
Laugh at the pixelated blood that just... like, literally, you will have giant wells of enemy blood just spraying everywhere. It is great. But...
So speaking of pixels, what's this other game you wanted to talk about? I saw it's on Steam and PS4, but it seems like it's kind of newish.
Yes. It came out, I believe, last week. It is called Moon Hunters. So
that seems like a really short game. Wait for night, look up.
Well, it actually, in a way, it is short game. But so full disclosure, I backed this game on Kickstarter, but I backed the Vita version, which I recently got an email from them. They're like, "Well, the Vita version isn't going to be out till like August or September," and it's like, "God damn it!" I'm like, the premise of the game was cool enough that I was like, "Fuck it, I'll pay the $15 and get it on Steam." And Susie and I have been playing it 2-player, and this is another game where I haven't played it single player yet, and I'm curious if it's even any good single player because of the combat tactics you have to use to win in that game. But
well, it looks a lot like sort of a Gauntlet, like old school top-down Gauntlet with sort of roguelike elements because it's all procedurally generated.
Yeah, actually, that's.
And that was from 6 seconds of looking at the site. So clearly they did what they marketed properly.
I don't know if I can completely go with the Gauntlet thing, but it essentially is a top-down kind of action beat-em-up type thing. So far I've unlocked 5 classes. I don't know that there are any more classes, but basically you play through the game, and it creates a legend of your characters at the end of the game that will change your next game in aspects.
Oh, that's neat.
It's...
How long is each run?
Probably about 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay. That's doable.
It was definitely made by 5 people, though, unfortunately. Like, the art style's cool, the music is cool, the voice acting I don't think is very good. And I don't know if I should blame the voice actress or the person EQing her voice.
Did they try and do full voice acting?
No.
The game has an art style where, I mean, text boxes would work.
It's mostly text boxes, but you have 2 or 3 instances where they will go to a very brief, abrupt cutscene. Like, the cutscenes are pretty, but then you have this not-so-great voice acting going on over it, and then it ends, like, in such a way that you think you pressed a button and canceled it out. Like... It's real abrupt, but like the overall tone of the game I really like. I'm worried there's not as much content as I want there to be, because it's after you finish a playthrough, it gives you this big spiel about kind of the legends created out of your character of, oh, they stared at the star so long that they became a statue or something like that. You know, like weird esoteric shit like that. And you get that whether you win or lose the game.
I was gonna say, what happens when something eats you? Or just stabs you in the lung?
So, your characters never die, evidently.
See, now that's a superpower. Not there's two of us.
Yeah, it's basically how the game is structured is you have, I think, 4 or 5 days in the game. And each day you pick an area to go to, and if you get knocked out in the area, then that's the end of your day and you lose some of your money. If you beat the area, then you usually can find some money to upgrade some of your character's skills with. And you might find more of the story. The story, Susie and I have not figured out how to get a good ending yet. Like, the whole story of the game is the moon disappeared. You have to figure out how to bring it back. There are all these different tribes. The sun cult is saying that they killed the moon goddess, and that's why it went away.
Oh, I'll bet it went to Termina. That's where it is. This is we solved the mystery.
Termina. Is this
Go find Link.
What is? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the game where the moon is trying to kill the town. Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, I own Majora's Mask. I've never actually played it.
I have a very controversial opinion on Majora's Mask, so I will refrain from that so we can avoid the hate mail.
No, I want to hear it.
Every opinion on Majora's Mask is controversial in my opinion. The people who like it, I think, are wrong. The people who don't like it, I think, are wrong.
I liked it and hated it.
That 3-day reset timer was fucking maddening.
You didn't think that was a cool idea?
No, it kept wiping all my goddamn progress.
No. But that was the idea of the game, though.
You know, and so, some of that's probably on me. I haven't picked it up since I was probably 14. Now, I beat it when I was 14. I beat it all the time when I was 14. And I played a bunch of Zelda. Sometimes at the same time, which may explain why I had some trouble.
Yeah, you gotta have 2 hands.
I have 2 hands. I just was devoting them to different problems that I was trying to solve at the same time. It was sort of, it made the puzzles a lot more complicated, but
more enjoyable.
You know, I haven't really gone back to it since, and I guess I wasn't, you know, I didn't have 40 gaming websites that I read on a daily basis back then, so I guess it sort of blindsided me that they did that.
Yeah. Majora's Mask was the first game that I had to have the, they used to come out with those books that would, like, tell you everything. You know
Brady Games, Prima Guides.
Yeah, stuff like that. That was the first game that I ever could not beat without that book.
I got that book for Ocarina of Time just to find all the damn bugs.
I beat the shit out of Ocarina of Time. I loved Ocarina of Time. That's my favorite game ever of all time.
Well, why don't you have a 3DS and get the remastered version? That one's amazing.
Well, how much better is it? Like, what?
See, I have
kind of been there, done that. Like, I've got the T-shirt. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, I have a DS, but I'm never on the bus, so like I never play it. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the 3D is actually not bad in that one, but anyways.
I'm sorry. Is there more to discuss on Hunting Moons?
I'm trying to think of what else. Like the game itself is $13. The soundtrack's really good, so if you go and get it, I recommend the soundtrack. It's a good multiplayer experience, but the combat in it's hard, and again, it's another game where they don't train you in the combat. So, like me and Susie wound up picking a good combination at the start because she picked like a witch knight thing. I don't know. It was kind of this melee magic class, and they all have kind of magic attributes to them, but
that's kind of why it reminded me of Gauntlet.
Yeah,
because everybody sort of had melee in their spells.
Well, and but they're also very, like, hers was very much a melee focused one. I picked a druid who was very much support. Like, the thing I did most with the druid is he throws down this field that stalls the enemies and slows them down, which was massively helpful because you die super easy in that game.
Now, when you say field, you don't mean like a gravitational field. You mean a literal field, right?
Yeah, he makes like tall grass.
Awesome.
Like if you read the description for his powers in the game, like it's like his regular attack is he throws these 3 boomerang thingies, and then you read the description, he's throwing leaves at the enemy.
I was hoping they'd be antlers or something.
No, he does turn into a wolf though, which is pretty rad.
Think about all the dead elk just following him around. Oh, I love it.
There. I like the game. I'm not so sure it's as balanced as it needs to be. It's definitely made by 5 people. Honestly, in a couple months when they bring out a PS4 version, I may buy it again if it's cheap enough and if some friends buy it, because I feel like getting a 4-player game of that going could be a lot of fun. But anyway, that's all I got on that.
And by August, you'll have literally 3 full copies of the game. Wow.
I guess I do like it more than... like, I think I'm overselling it, though, because it has a lot of issues. Like, it's an alpha protocol, you know, like... There's a lot to love there, and there's a lot of things people are not going to like, I feel, about it. Because it doesn't explain itself well, you have no idea where you're going or what you're questing for, and I highly suspect it's not going to have enough content for the replayability that the devs wanted to have.
Well, they can always put out patches and small expansions, so...
That's true, and that's my hope, is that they do a bunch of free kind of expansions if it does well enough, but...
Shit, Punch Club just got a free expansion. Do you remember me talking about Punch Club? The boxing... the boxing tycoon thing? Yeah, that just got a free expansion that I didn't even know about until I was like, oh, I fired this game up, and, like, you're saving a cat from falling off a building in the rain at night. Like, okay.
Oh, and actually, one last thing I want to mention about Moon Hunters. The way Susie and I played it was through my Steam Link with an Xbox controller and a Steam controller, and it worked real well that way.
Yeah? The latency's pretty good on those?
Yeah, the only negative aspect about that was when you go to type in your character's name, which I recommend you do because you'll be hearing about that character the next time you play.
Dick Balls the Adventurer, yep.
Like, you press... like, you know, we're sitting here with 2 controllers, and you click on the name, and it moves to a blinking cursor. And you're like, this game's supposed to have full controller support, and it didn't pop up a keyboard interface. So then you have to press the Steam button, and then hit the open keyboard button through the Steam console.
You couldn't even type in your name like it was a high score.
Yeah, and then on top of that, when the Steam keyboard opens, it covers up the name entry point. So you're praying to God you typed it in right.
So you're Joan when you get back to the game.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, I guess I'm Joan now.
Luckily, Susie and I got it right, but it's a hassle. I hope they fix it. But I'm sure on consoles it'll be fine since they have that stuff a little bit more integrated and available, I think, for the devs. But anyway, I don't...
Well, speaking of games with druids and archers and valkyries and shit, I've been playing Heroes of the Storm. I've been jumping all over, you know, persistent online connected shit lately. For those who don't remember, Heroes of the Storm is Blizzard's MOBA. It's real good. Like, I'm not sure I'm going to dump a lot of time into it. I have played precisely 0 games online. All I do is play against the computer because I don't want to get my shit ruined. So I can't really speak to the community, but supposedly it's kind of the best MOBA community out there.
So are you a big MOBA player?
No. I've played... I mean, I've downloaded Dota 2 a couple times, but again, I never do anything with anything but AI in my entire life, and also in Dota. And it's fine. I goof around with it, you know, every 3-4 months or so. This one's a lot more accessible to me. And I think what I like about it is sort of the diversity of... I mean, it doesn't have the sheer amount of characters Dota has. It's got... They sort of follow the League of Legends format, where, you know, sort of these characters are free this week, and then you can buy other characters with in-game currency that you earn or for realsies money. But the rotations are always pretty good. I've bought 2 or 3 characters already just by doing their daily quests, which are, you know, complete 3 matches as a Diablo character or 3 matches as a fighter melee character. Well, you know, if I pick Diablo, he's both of those. I can knock out 2 quests at once, which is really cool. They don't just have the one map. You know, they got 5, 6, 7 maps, and they seem to keep coming out with a lot more pretty regularly.
So do they just make money off of getting alternate costumes and shit?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm sure there are plenty of people who don't want to... Because you get... I think when you finish a game... Now, mind you, this is offline against... Well, not offline. It's never offline. But it's against bots. So if I finish a match, which takes from 15 to 30 minutes, I'll get 10 gold. Well, Jaina Proudmoore from Warcraft, who's like the ice magic lady wizard, I think she was like 4,000 gold. So that's 400 matches if I wanted to unlock her. So that's where the daily quests come in, where they sort of give you that bump. You can get 300-400 gold from a quest. But once you run through your 2 or 3 daily quests, you're done earning money. So I think a lot of people are probably going to pay real money for characters. But yeah, there are straight-up costumes that you just can't pay in-game currency for.
Yeah, I figured that. Is there any limit on how many characters you can have before you have to start pumping money into it?
It doesn't seem so. I mean, anyone who you get the gold to unlock, you can buy.
Okay.
They just start becoming crazy expensive, especially for like the newer characters.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think the the Necromancer from Diablo 2, or a sort of version of him, just came out, and he's like 12,000 gold. Like, nope. That is, maybe if I played every day for a good 5 or 6 weeks, I could get that. I'm not seeing him anytime soon.
Yep.
But it's cool. They let you demo all the new characters, and I like that the maps all have sort of different agendas. Some you don't even get to hit your enemy's main building. You have to capture their buildings. Like there's your when this building dies, we die building, and then there's all this sort of stuff that comes out of that. Barracks and towers and stuff like that. In one map, you can capture the enemy's barracks. And then when the thing that happens periodically, because every map has this big game changer that happens every 2 to 3 minutes, let's say. In this map, you have to go to a random spawn on the map, sort of spend 5 or 7 seconds channeling on this item, and then it will fire a cannon shot towards your opponent's main base for every building that you currently have captured. So instead of just charging down one lane, you have to it's sort of a... not capture the flag, but sort of capture territory, but you're also trying to manage this other stuff. It's not a simple, straightforward MOBA, which is good because I would suck at that, so I'm having a lot of fun with it. But, hey, it's free. Check it out if it sounds good.
Cool. I've heard a lot of positive things about it. I just don't know a ton of MOBA players, and I don't play them, so...
It's easy to kind of, as long as you don't want to play online against people, it's very easy to jump in, play a game, go through and do a quote-unquote comp stomp, like back in the old StarCraft days, and, move on and go back to your day.
I feel like if they stuck the right franchise on a MOBA, that I probably would start looking into it. Like, if they did like a Gundam MOBA, I would fucking play the shit out of that, I bet.
Well, give it 20 minutes. I'm sure they'll get around to it.
That's true. It's true. And it probably won't ever... If it comes here, I'm probably going to have to fucking do a bunch of bullshit to get it, but...
Yeah, you're going to have to learn Japanese to figure out how to download this thing.
Pretty much. I already got the Japanese language pack on my computer, so it's just a matter of downloading it and then figuring out what the menu buttons do and how do I select Gundam Heavy Arms, and then we're good. So...
Problem solved.
Okay. Well... I believe that is all we got today. Do you guys have any closing comments?
I don't know who I'm trying to think of, but I don't think the character I was thinking of is Preacher. I don't know who it is. Eventually I'll figure it out.
Well, okay.
Yeah. I wanted to wrap it all up in a nice little circular thing.
Gotcha.
Tiny package.
Okay, well then thanks for joining us. Be sure and check out our Facebook group. Check us out on Twitter, Carousel Podcast. Go to thecarouselpodcast.com. Rate us, review us on iTunes, and give us all the stars. Buy my music at MusiM.bandcamp.com. I just did a Picking Up the Pixels RPG podcast, so check that out. And Jake, where can we find you?
I am TheOtherJZee on Twitter. That's OtherJZee. How many times? Two E's at the end. I always forget how many I said as I'm saying it. And then I'm also on the Game Club this month over at TVGP. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, it is going to be my last episode for at least a while. Me and the Hannah talked about Max Payne 3, and it went pretty good. So check it out over there at tvgp.tv, or you can find it on iTunes.
Yeah, it's not all that painful. So, I like my pun. Randy, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at OSU Cobra, OSU Oklahoma State University Cobra. That's what it stands for, in case you were wondering, which I'm sure you all were.
I figured somebody already took Gosu Cobra.
So, big Ohio State fan, right?
Yeah, that's it. Go Buckeyes.
He's from Oklahoma, for those not in the joke.
Yeah, so are you, John.
I am, but
You're saying that like it's a bad thing.
we have Ohio listeners that would be confused. Is all.
It's the Oklahoma State Coders.
You know what? There's OSU, and then Ohio State decided that they were so important that they had to put "the" in front of their shit. So they're the Ohio State University.
Those are the assholes on Monday Night Football that I can't stand. Okay.
Yeah. They would be Tosu, I guess. Technically, right? We're just Oklahoma State. Don't worry about it. OSU Cobra, that's where you can find me.
Okay. So, we will see you guys next turn.
We miss you, Joey.
Next turn. Yeah, get your shit together, Joey.
Okay.
Too hard? Too far?
No, not too far. Make him feel bad for working.
I will.
Make him
I will
feel
make
worse
feel
than he already feels for working through an
Way
evening.
way to provide for your wife and children, you piece of shit.
What an asshole.
Some fucking people.
So, titles.
How about Let It Go?
Oh shit, you guys! I stopped my recording.
Well,
Oh no!
What?
Let
Why'd
me-
you do? Oh,
Okay, don't worry about it. I'll just pull the backup recording for the titles. So,
So we got.
It could be Randy's hair is great, or
you see, Randy, like, maybe we never explained the rules. You're supposed to, like, write down funny shit that we said through
Randy's beard is so good. Like, that's a good title.
Are you referring to the woman you married so people would think you were straight?
Well,
I will-
yeah. Hey, get in here, Eddie.
I'm better than that. I'm better than gay jokes. I'm sorry.
Okay, so, I'll just start reading from the thing, unless you want to read yours, Jake.
I got none. I'm keeping track.
No, just read it off the thing. I don't know what you're gonna have to do with the audio, so we'll make sure they can be heard.
Okay. Invoking the Purple Man.
Pretty
Baby
good.
Justice. Clark Kent Superlad.
Nope, that's not what it says.
I like that one.
Kent Clark Superlad.
There you go, Kent Clark.
Robin the Robots. It Takes a While to Get to Saturn.
I feel like that's a little too long.
Yeah.
That's like obvious though.
Both
Unlock
both
the-
the journey and the
Everyone knows it. right?
Unlock the Universe. He Will Occasionally Drop Parts. Pointless Rube Goldberg Machines. Waging War on the Broforce Wiki.
It's pretty good.
Everlasting Life and Actual Superpower.
I'm feeling Kent Clark.
Tiny Package. It has an exclamation point.
Exactly who is Kent Clark.
That's good. I like that lady. I don't know who she is. I like her. Yeah, Kent
You
Clark
heard that?
and Superlad is pretty good.
Okay.
Kent Clark, man, all the
And
way.
He Will Occasionally Drop Parts sounded a lot funnier in my head, but I'm not gonna stand on that. It's Kent Clark, Superlad.
You guys, I was leaning towards either Pointless Rube Goldberg or Waging War on the Broforce.
No,
but
you're wrong.
With
It's
you
Kent
guys
Clark.
on Kent Clark, then I'm good with that too.
Okay, cool, great. Kent Clark.
Okay. So, thank you for everyone else for joining us on the stream, and check us out here in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.
2 weeks, not one.
2.